Yo, 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 what is going on, people? Welcome to Throwdown, episode 462. I'm your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I'm joined by Emilio Lopez, Chris Seeley,
Hey, what's up, everyone?
Adam Vale,
How you doing?
and Brett Murdoch.
What up, everyone?
All right, little bit of a difference here. I'm not on camera right now because I'm at my mom's place and there's a big light behind me, so it was all fucked up. Like, I'll let you guys see it for a quick second. It's like, Brett! Some J.J. Abrams shit. So we ain't about that life.
You need a blue flare on the other side, Tony.
Shut up, I should make that light red and then another like blue light and shit. Have like red on one side, blue on another. That would have been dope.
It's orange. Thank you.
That's the for those of you who watch the show, that's the old homestead right there.
That's the old, yeah, man. But yeah, back with another one. Listen, man, we don't take breaks on Throwdown. We take a break at the end of the year. There's 2 weeks. We don't stop even for Thanksgiving.
Yep.
So, by the way, if you heard Adam upset, you'll learn about why later. Oh man, Christmas did not come early for you, man. I think you may have gotten a fucking coal in your stocking. Hopefully you didn't. Who else is? Oh, Brian's missing. He said he was playing Yakuza 0, stayed up too late. And Carlos is returning to Tejas, so he's on an early flight, so he can't be on tonight, But yeah, he was here for a whole month. Got to see Carlos last week. That was fun. At Barcade, drinking,
It must have been sucky though, because like a lot of his trip was him being sick.
Yeah, he got the COVID and shit. The Rona. I was like, what the fuck?
Oh shit.
Yeah, man. Fucking New York gave him the Rona, But
that is a terrible welcome home present.
Yeah, right. Well, I mean, he got over it. He's good, but still, Anyway, since this is a Wednesday show, not a lot happened this week, but there's still some interesting stuff we need to go over, So let's get right into it. So this one's fun. Sony is facing a $7.9 billion class action lawsuit over PlayStation store prices. Dun, dun, dun. So, just to be clear, this is happening in Europe. This is not like a U.S. thing, even though they're putting it in dollars here. I'm gonna read this shit. This is from Game Rant. Sony is facing a $7.9 billion class action lawsuit over its PlayStation store practices. Sony lawyers were hoping that PlayStation's massive lawsuit for allegedly overcharging customers would be dropped, but the case has been allowed to move forward. The initial lawsuit stems from PlayStation's terms and conditions for developers and publishers that sell games on the digital front, with Sony's 30% commission for games sold on the PlayStation Store. It is alleged that the company ends up charging consumers too much for digital titles.
Of course. We
kinda
know they
new
do.
news. Yeah. We've heard you something before. Let me keep going here. The battle against this sort of behavior on digital storefronts isn't new, as Apple recently was faced with lawsuits thanks to its 30% cut on the App Store. In fact, this is the main debate within Epic's lawsuit against Apple and Google, which is still ongoing in the case of Epic and Google. This time, however, it's not the game publishers that are suing, it's the consumers. With more than a year, it appears that though this lawsuit will continue, it could cost Sony billions of dollars. Reuters is reporting that a class action lawsuit filed against Sony Interactive Entertainment has been allowed to move forward by a London tribunal. It is alleged that Sony is, quote, abusing its dominant position, end quote, by requiring software to be bought and sold only on its online marketplace. Because of Sony's 30% commission on all PlayStation Store sales, it is argued that consumers are forced to pay a higher price for entertainment than they should otherwise. I think that pretty much covers the main stuff there.
To be honest, that's all true. But I mean, that's both game companies. That's not only PlayStation. Microsoft is also overcharging for their titles because there is no discs being printed. So theoretically, you should get some sort of discount, right? Right.
I mean,
we always thought about that.
It's really tough to tell, to be real honest with you.
What's that?
I said it's really tough to tell because the Game Pass muddies the fucking waters.
Well, yeah,
and then you kind of get.
But I mean, they're still guilty of it. Like, in other words, if you buy, if you buy like any one of their games, they're still as much as they are if you bought them at a store retail. Theoretically, games should be cheaper because they're digital, because there's no things there. But yeah, it does muddy the water when you
Sony
have
games
does muddy the water if you have a service like Game Pass, and also Sony and the Sony tax that they added, which was $70.
Yeah, well, also I think, and this at least is the big one for me. Like, so it's not that they're charging you the same for a game that you buy in a store with a disc. They're charging you more than it costs to buy in a store on a disc, and I think that's at least part of it. The other part is the 30% that they're charging. Supposedly being like too high of a cut, and that forces developers to charge more to help kind of make up for it. I'm not sure what Microsoft charges. You're probably right. I'm not arguing that fact. I'm just kind of saying, like, I know on the PlayStation side. On the Microsoft side, I just kind of get shit on Game Pass and then stop paying attention. So I can't really.
They used to have it where, like on Steam, like the fact that there's all these CD keys and Humble Bundle and all these other locations where you can get these keys cheap, and they can do these crazy sales that are actually better than the prices on Steam. And it used to be like that with PlayStation and Xbox. Remember, Amazon was selling codes and digital codes at different sales and prices, and then that all stopped. And so that way they have full control. So yeah, it kind of sucks that it's not one of those systems. Like, let's say if Amazon said, all right, we'll buy these games from you, these codes from Microsoft or PlayStation, and then they can sell them at whatever price they want. They can sell them at regular price, and if it's not selling and they want to do a sale and sweeten the deal, then they can lower the price. But for some reason, both of these companies don't want that. They want to have full control.
Yeah, I'm like, this is. I don't know if they're even gonna win here. It's like, how long has this shit been going on for?
I mean, just because it's been going on doesn't, and it goes on everywhere, doesn't mean it's not a fucked up practice.
Oh, they won before, at least in England. Remember with the whole digital refund. That happens over there. We don't have that feature, but they have that button. And if they don't like a game, they can just say, nope, digital refund, no questions asked, and they get refunded.
But
so
I mean, like, let's just say, for the sake of argument, if they win, does this mean Microsoft is going to have to change its practices? Is Apple? Is all? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, well,
again, let me ask you: Do you know if Microsoft charges developers 30% to sell on their storefront?
I'm not 100% sure about that, so I can't say.
Well, 30% is what Apple charged, and I remember at the time that was unusually high for the entire industry, right? Like, the fact that they were in the lead on their storefront allowed them to charge higher than the rest of the industry. Like, that was kind of the legs of the problem here. And like, I heard them say it's the same as Apple, and I heard them say it's 30%. So like, I'm not in front of a PC. Can somebody Google, like, do we know how much it costs to percent-wise put something on the Xbox marketplace?
I'm looking now to see.
It says right here, Microsoft charges developers 30% of sales made through Xbox. It's the same.
Okay, so it's the same.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. It's like, if everybody's doing it, it's going to be hard for this to change.
Yeah. Well, now it's saying 12%. What's this 12%?
Yeah, if everybody's doing it, it's going to be hard for it to change. Like, I can see why it was brought up on Sony first, because they're market dominant. But we need to change everybody.
Apps is 12%. If people want to sell apps on Microsoft, apps are cheaper,
12%, and then games are.
And the games are 30. Yeah,
yeah. Everybody's doing it, so it's not going to go anywhere.
Well, I mean,
it did. Go ahead.
Like, it's going to require a big industry shift. And I don't think these other guys are going to want to lose money.
They're all going to have to jump in on it and agree.
Or you could go to you could buy a physical version, and you won't need to do that, right?
Yeah, but you saw, the amount of PlayStation, purchases are. It's like, what, 4% are physical.
Yeah, I mean it's
So
the
that's not happening either.
ease of use subverts all of that. But you know, you look at a game like I was thinking about this for a second. Like, you can't actually buy Alan Wake for anybody on a PlayStation. Like, let's say let's say you wanted to buy somebody like hey Adam, I want to get you Alan Wake. You're a big fan. Or Chris and Christian, right? I can't do that because they don't have that. They don't. Sony doesn't allow you to buy games off of their service, and Alan Wake is a digital only game.
Well, that's the other thing too, that they don't have that gifting feature. That's Microsoft added that back years ago, and it seemed to work. I don't understand why they don't just have that option. Like, oh, you want to buy for yourself or your friend, on your list. There you go. What's the problem there then? Especially if they know you can't buy a physical version, like you said. It's like, well, how can you gift?
Yeah, how could you, if you want to get, if this is the most, what do they call it? What do you got to buy somebody a PlayStation card and then they'll figure it out what they want? I don't know. You just want to give a game.
Yeah, it's weird that they don't have the option to gift, because it's not like you can't gift a game on Steam.
Yeah, you could gift and you could put a date. You can gift I could put something for someone's birthday and be like, all right, when? In 2025. Have this sent to them, and that's it.
And can you gift on Xbox?
Yeah.
Okay.
You'll get the.
We're not doing
So, and I think also Nintendo, the eShop, you can't.
What's Nintendo? What do you expect?
But
Oddly enough, the two Japanese companies don't believe in gifting.
Brett, what's up?
It's dishonorable, Manny. So the only thing about this story that actually honestly bothered me was there was kind of a little addendum somewhere on the version that I read that said Sony had put forward to the judge asking for anybody who opted into the lawsuit and has since bought anything on the PlayStation Store should have their name thrown out of the case. Which I thought was fucking dirty pool. What's that?
Wait, I don't. Why? I don't understand.
Because they were saying basically like, well, as a customer, if you feel you're being taken advantage of and you want to, jump on that lawsuit, then if you buy anything else from our storefront, clearly you don't feel that bad about it, and your name should be taken off of the lawsuit. Was their argument, which I don't. It is clever, but it's also fucking dirty pool when you're that industry dominant. That's kind of like that's some shifty shit right there.
Yeah. Oh, it's shifty, but if I was a company, I'd do the same thing.
Yeah, no, I get why they did it, and it was honestly very slick. But again, doesn't really seem like, I don't know if I necessarily say slick is a good thing in this context.
Yeah, I wouldn't use slick. Like, what is a word for evilly clever? There's got to be a word for it. I just can't come to me right now.
Shiesty.
Yeah, you can use that. Jay Shep, what's going on, bro? Cheers to you too, man. He's drinking.
Conniving?
Yeah. What happened? Conniving? Yeah, conniving. I like that. Yeah, let's go with
conniving. That works.
Conniving.
Schemers.
Yeah. By the way, since I work with a bunch of British people, like, I learned that cheers to them means thanks. So, but literally,
you didn't know that?
I had no fucking idea. I was told that cheers was when you raise a fucking glass.
Yeah, but what did you think cheers was?
So I thought cheers was you raise a glass of alcohol. Cheers.
It has a bunch of meanings, though. That's the thing, because they'll also say it when they hang up a call. All right, cheers.
Yeah,
how much do you think British people are drinking, Tony?
Or cheers.
These are British people.
Or cheers in the email. They'll write.
Or cheers in the email. Yeah, like goodbye.
Again, I've learned all this as I've worked with a British company. Understand? I was like, but here's the funny thing, though. Here's the funny thing. When I told them this, I was like, yeah, we drink a lot, so that's fair. That's what they told me. I was like, I told them, every time you guys say cheers to me, I imagine you holding up a pint, and they're like, that's fair. We drink a lot.
Tony, I love the idea of you like talking to somebody on the phone and being like, cheers, and hanging up, and you being like, motherfuckers drinking at 9 a.m.
Yeah, I mean, I was like, oh, cheers, okay. But British people are weird. Anyway, anything else we want to say about the Sony lawsuit?
I hate that these things have to come up in UK because the US consumer protections are so shit.
Yeah, we'll see what happens in the UK. Very interesting. But Segway Kings here. We got to talk about another UK thing concerning Xbox. Apparently, sales have plummeted for the Xbox Series X and S year on year. They've dropped apparently, yeah, 52%. Fuck, that's
I mean,
brutal.
is this? We all knew that, didn't we?
No, but year on year, like, wow. I mean,
Yeah, like it's just been a nosedive for like the last 10 years.
When
Isn't
they
it the
weren't
same
releasing
year?
any games. Remember, that was the whole thing. When they weren't releasing games, nobody was buying the console because there's no games on it.
Yeah, I want to read this real quick just for context. Reading this from IGN. According to fresh data reported by Game Industry Biz, Sony's PlayStation 5 is comfortably number one in Europe with sales of an incredible 143% over October last year. So remember, Sony went up 143% over last year. The near 7-year-old Nintendo Switch is second despite a 20% drop off sales year on year, but the Xbox Series X and S have seen a whopping 52% drop in sales. So Sony 142% increase, Xbox 52% decrease. Ugh,
Yeah,
that's brutal, but not
that's
unexpected.
that's kind of the problem when like it gets super one-sided, man. Like it slips even further. Like it kind of reminds me of like the whole 2-degree climate argument. But it's like when you have such a large like competitive lead, like it's easier to maintain that, man. Like all your friends are on PlayStation. Nobody's buying Xboxes right now, and especially since Starfield didn't hit the way that it should, like there's not a lot of reason for people to buy Starfield. Like I'm surprised that apparently Series X, I guess, sold less than the Kinect version, but like I don't know how to explain that. That's just fucking weird. But like, yeah, man, like I can absolutely understand. Like, and I would kind of expect, especially with Spider-Man coming out, like Sony's still running strong. There is nothing, especially in your average public, consumer mind that like says that they're not just going to be running on full steam forever. I think the consensus around here is there's a little bit of apprehension with, their live service games being the bulk of the foreseeable future, but not a lot of people are looking at it like us, right? Like your average home consumer, they're just like, PlayStation's running strong and they're going to be forever. And honestly, 25 years of history would back that up. So like, why the fuck would you invest in an Xbox unless there's something really pulling you towards it? I mean, y'all think I'm a huge Xbox or Xbot. Let's just go with that. Y'all think I'm a huge Xbot. I wouldn't buy an Xbox until after I bought my PlayStation. Even supposedly being that far in the Xbox camp, like there's just not a lot there, man. Then again, really wouldn't have bought a PlayStation 5 either. I would have just fucking upgraded my PC had I known this is where we were going.
I mean, it's not until this year where you need a. Here's the thing: I don't even want to say you need a new next gen console. That's still debatable,
Here's the thing. I was really excited for Spider-Man, and then it came and it released, and I haven't picked it up yet, and I just don't know if I care. Like it's weird. Like I should feel like I'm excited or missing out on something, but like it just doesn't. Like I don't know. Maybe I've just been eating well with so many other games. Maybe it just doesn't feel different enough from the previous iterations. Maybe
it's probably that. Because my son, he beat it and he got all the outfits, and every time I asked him, I was like, "Hey, you gonna play?" It's like, "Nah, it's just like the other one." I mean, it's just more stuff. He had no need, and he loves Spider-Man, so I think that's it, right? I think.
Well, yeah, everybody I've talked to or heard, even the people that rave about it, they're like, "Yeah, man, I played 25 hours. It was great. Put it down after that, and never picked it up again." But that game is an 11 out of 10. I'm like, that doesn't sound like 11 out of 10 behavior.
No, that's good.
The thing is, again, yeah. Here's the thing. You're right. Like, the game was like hot shit for 2 weeks, and then that's it. It dropped off, And the thing is, I think it's because it's so similar to the first one. There's not much more to talk about. Like when the first one came out, it was like, holy fuck, we finally got this dope ass Spider-Man. We've been waiting years for this, because the last time we got a really good Spider-Man of that level was Spider-Man 2 in fucking 2000, whatever the hell that came out. You know, so it was like a new thing. It was fresh. This one is just more of the same, and then obviously there's some social stuff attached to it that kind of bring it down a little bit. You know, so I kind of understand why people are just like, hey, I had my fun. I'm done. I'm same way. I got my
So
platinum. I'm good. You
let
know,
me ask you something in this, because like, you know, we talked when Miles Morales came out about how I said it felt like a DLC,
which
but
it
everyone
was.
says no, this is a full on.
Oh, they're full
It's
of
a
shit.
full game. This is a standalone game. This is a game. I'm like, okay, cool. So that means this is the third game that we've gotten where honestly nothing's changed by that definition, which it would have honestly been way more excusable to be like, yeah, we had a first one and then a DLC and then this one. But if you say this is the third game and mechanically nothing has changed from the first game, it doesn't feel like a lot of reason to. I'm not against it. I don't know how to explain it. It's like, it's not like food. It's not like a food I don't like. It's just I'm not rushing to get there and eat while it's hot. It'll be there. It's fine. It's whatever.
I mean,
Yeah.
you could just.
By the way, Brett, just so you know, me going on Twitter and calling Miles Morales DLC is what got the PlayStation community to hate me this generation and label me an Xbot. Just so
Well, and
you
that's
know.
kind of what I'm saying. That's why, like, I want to direct this. I wish that the PlayStation community were a monolith, because so I could direct this question to them. So since it is a full game, since you as a community came down on everybody so hard for implying it might be some sort of standalone DLC, right? Because remember, I was very hot about that when it came out. It's like, this is a DLC, and I straight up fought with people over that shit, right? So now I want to direct the question. I'm like,
So
okay,
did
cool.
I.
So now it's the third game that's exactly the same as the first game, maybe a little bit graphically polished up, although even that doesn't really seem like it.
Not exactly like the first game or Miles Morales. It's sort of like genuine improvements, you know, over the way certain things work. And then the web wings are also a pretty big deal.
Okay, I mean, okay.
Yeah, but Manny, fundamentally, again, because I test Spider-Man 2. Excuse me, I test the first Spider-Man on PC regularly. So when I jumped into this game, I didn't have to adjust.
Well, yeah, because
style.
because it's not that much of a difference. But why would you change it that much from the previous to where you don't recognize anything?
I'm not.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. By the way, I'm not saying this as a negative. I'm just saying as a statement of fact that it is the actual fundament, the core, is the same.
Also fun thing, you can actually make the traversal even more difficult, because there's there's like obviously like in the other games, like when you press
like that fucking idiot on Twitter who only was pressing X and he was like, oh, the traversal's fucked up. It's like, you gotta hold R2, you fucking dumbass.
No. Here's the thing. There's a way you can actually make the game play exactly like the old PlayStation game, where you actually have to aim the webs at the building that you're shooting at. Because you remember that's yeah, because like what you can do is essentially, because it has an assist, so it automatically shoots to the nearest building as long as you're holding the button. When you're when you turn that thing off, you have to actually aim it. So you can
that's cool.
Yeah, so you can make it play like the old
My
games.
problem was in this game, and it was more in this game than the first one. Like, I know for a fact I'm swinging off of shit that shouldn't even be. Like, I literally jumped off the Empire State Building and started web swinging. I'm like, what the hell else am I swinging from? There's no taller buildings here.
I know the cheat.
That didn't happen in the first one, though.
I know the cheat button was always pressing the X button. He does that one thing where he does the hop, and you can do that no matter if there's buildings or not. He just does it somewhere.
Yeah. There's also another one, where you like kind of like webs, like you shoot two webs from both your arms, and then you kind of like shoot yourself like a catapult or whatever. Mm-hmm. You could do that literally from the top of the Empire State Building. Like, that makes no fucking sense. There's no other buildings here. This is the tallest building in the fucking city.
That is weird, because in the first game you couldn't swing through the park because there were no buildings there.
Mm-hmm.
No, you can swing through the you can swing through the park, but the it doesn't. You're getting the trees. It still can swing, but you can't, like, on an open field. You can't swing through the open field. But now you have the web wings, so you can actually go longer. Going longer with it.
Anyway, we got sidetracked.
Yeah, we did. Talking about some Spider-Man.
Yeah, it's all good. Xbox sales tanking in Europe, but not surprising. It's not one of their bigger markets, to be honest.
Maybe we'll be in luck, and at the Game Awards they'll show something that won't come out for another 3 years.
Yeah. I want to read this. This is kind of cool. From IGN, because they actually spoke with Game Industry Biz. So I'll just read this. So why do Xbox Series X and S continue to struggle in Europe? What's caused such a dramatic console sales collapse? There are a number of theories. Speaking to IGN as for a follow-up, Game Industry Biz head of games, B2B, Chris Dring, painted a grim picture of Xbox's fortunes across Europe. This is what this dude had to say. The sheer absence of available console stock last year does skew those figures quite a bit. And it's worth noting that that Eurozone countries have never been Xbox's strongest territories. That's true. They revealed back in February that they only hold 20% of the market value versus PlayStation's 80%. But, however, even in the UK, which is a market where Xbox is a lot more competitive, it's been a tough year. The Xbox Series S and X sales down 23% year to date. The reality is the console has very little momentum, which is such a crucial element when it comes to how successful a generation is or isn't for a platform holder. Yeah, no, he's not saying anything we didn't already know.
Well, let me put that into context here. Like, Xbox releases, it has promise. Things might change. Who knows what's going to happen? It's a new console. Things are new and fancy and different. First year after Xbox releases, it's okay. There's still things on the horizon. I heard Starfield is going to be pretty good, and I think there's a game called Redfall coming any minute now. This year, it's okay, cool. So that all shat the bed, and I don't see anything on the horizon. So, it's the idea of giving good graces only lasts for so long, and like when you're this far into the generation and still haven't delivered, like those good graces kind of wear thin, and there's not a lot of reason to buy it unless you're giving those good graces, like unless you've got some sort of brand loyalty or expectation. And don't get me wrong, until this year Sony was in much the same state, right? I'm criticizing the industry as a whole here, where like you don't go 2 years into a generation before you give somebody a reason to buy something. Like you don't wait till 2 years after somebody has bought something to give them the payoff. That's fucking stupid, and basically pissing down on your own most loyal customer base. So not a good look on either fucking system. But in Xbox's case, you still don't have anything forward showing to really go with, and you haven't had anything successful to kind of refresh that brand loyalty. Like Sony doesn't have a lot on the horizon, but people fucking love Spider-Man, and that's kind of enough that they're like, I just got a good game from Sony, I can wait a little bit longer. And if you like Last of Us, then those two things alone are enough to be like, so like I'm not getting
Wolverine's coming. People are hyped for that. Same studio that Wolverine's coming from Insomniac as well. People are hyped for that.
I am also hyped for that.
Yeah.
So
also for some
that's just kind of amalgamous and on the horizon. We don't know really anything about that. And that when that starts getting traction, I think it's going to make PlayStation look a lot better. What was that, Manny?
Also, Miles just so happens to have a Wolverine-like outfit. It's one of his alternate outfits.
Ooh. See? So they're building hype for it. Like the only reason I don't count that one necessarily is they've been pretty quiet about it, which I agree with. I think they should be. Don't tell me anything about that until you're ready for me to get fucking hyped. But just the knowing it's out there, yeah, definitely fucking helps. So like there's this weird combination of brand loyalty and expectation and actually honestly a bunch of other factors that kind of build into these good graces, like what's on the horizon, what's coming up, how well have you treated me in the past, do I have good recent experiences with your brand, and these kind of things all build into it. And it's the reason why I'll bitch a lot about what Sony's giving, but it's enough, and they've been smart enough to kind of build it in such a way that people feel fed. Nintendo is the fucking master of this. Nintendo may not give you a shitload, and they may trickle feed it to you, but what that is there's always something around the corner that you're excited for, and something just around the corner that you just passed that you feel good about. So I think that's one of the keys to Nintendo's success is you're always in their good graces. There's always something you played recently that was pretty good, and something else that's coming up. And we used to hate it because it felt like they were holding out on us, but honestly, now it's one of the more cathartic release schedules out of any of the big companies. But that being said, Microsoft's the worst, and I can absolutely understand why if you don't keep refreshing that pool, filling that pool back up, then like there's not going to be a lot in there to kind of build that good grace. You know what I mean? That's metaphors are breaking down, but I think I'm making my point.
Yeah. J Shep says, do people take brand loyalty into consideration when they buy a console? I just look at what's coming to that platform. J Shep, can you elaborate on that? That's an I want to know. I want to understand what you're trying to say. It's like,
I mean, it sounds like
yeah.
it sounds like if there's a brand loyalty, they'll probably go with whatever they've traditionally went with, right? So it's like, I like Sony, I'm gonna buy the Sony thing.
Yeah.
Brand loyalty is like 90% of what people buy their consoles off of, man. Like, if you buy it strictly off of what do I know is coming in the future, then you are definitely in the minority. Definitely.
Yeah, J-Shep, is that what you do? Do you just wait to see what's on a platform? Because no, Brett's right. It's like, and here's the thing, that's what most people do for most things, man. I've been buying fucking Pepsi my whole life just because that's what I've been buying. I buy Nikes because that's just what I've been buying. I drop Budweiser though for obvious reasons. But barring shit like that, I stick with what I know. Sony, hey, these motherfuckers are giving me what I wanted. I'm sticking with it, you know? But yeah, no, you generally speaking, most people just go with what they like, you know? Fucking Jordache and shit. I've been buying that shit forever because that's just what I've been buying, you know? Let me see. What did J Shep here? Like if I don't own a Switch but a new Zelda game is coming out, then I'll buy a Switch. I mean, that's fair.
Most people are not like that. Honestly, and this is why most of the console war exists. And
Thank you, Brett. I was just about to say that shit. That's exactly why the console wars exist. Anyway, go on.
Oh yeah, I say so. Like, not in a good way. Like, console war from way back in the day, I say with a smile. Console war now, I say with a scowl. Like, most of the console war is people just buying the brand that they're already loyal to, and then doing backflips to mentally justify that to themselves and everybody else. And anybody who suggests, this other, like, if you are a PlayStation fan, hardcore fanboy, die in the wool, and you buy PlayStation and something you might like comes out on Xbox, oh my God, you're gonna just bend over backwards to convince yourself and everybody else why that is just the worst thing ever. Mostly to appease your own sense of FOMO.
This is true.
So
that's literally how fanboys act.
Yeah, most of the problem comes from like people do that and then try and justify that and then fight on the internet about that justification, and that's like 90% of Twitter.
Yep, pretty much. All right. Let's move on here.
But on you though, brother, you keep doing that. You keep doing you. Like,
hey, listen, what do
you do
works
the same
for you?
thing I do, and that is what keeps you happy. At least that's what keeps me happy. Like, well, if there's a game on something I want to play, I'll play it.
Yeah, my thing is like because I hate being left out, so I'm like, okay, how do I resolve this? Buy everything. I have the money now. I'm good.
I mean, for
it's as simple as that.
For me,
so basically, it's like PS5 and a PC. Because a PC, obviously, you get two things in one. You get the PC games and Xbox. You know.
For me, it's never been about being left out. I mean, I've always bought consoles late, because I don't see the reason to go all in on something that hasn't proven to me as to what it's going to be. There's only a few times that I've actually legitimately bought a console day and date. I don't, but for the most part, it's always been late to get to the party because I don't care about being left out. I just care about playing the things that I want to play. And what's the thing that currently gives me the things that I want to play?
PlayStation.
Yeah, at least for now. Yeah.
It has been for the past 25 years.
It has been for the past 25 years, but I wouldn't say I'll buy a PlayStation just because it's a PlayStation. Every single generation, without any question, it always gets a re-roll. And if the re-roll doesn't come up as good, and the other guy comes out with something good, then I'll go with that. You know?
When was the last time you bought a Nintendo? Yeah, when was the last time you bought a Nintendo device?
Yet,
the last Nintendo device is console I had was the Wii. I didn't buy the Wii U, and for right now, like for the Switch, I don't see anything that's interests me, so I don't have it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on here. Sticking with Xbox.
Real quick,
what's up, bro?
Time. Manny, I'm curious. So where does something like the Steam Deck fit in there for you?
The Steam Deck doesn't really fit into anything because, there are some things that I want to play on PC, but there's not the things that I'm really that interested in. And I'm much, if anything, like I would much rather have a under set top PC than have a handheld that'll probably collect dust because I don't really use it much.
Sure.
So, yeah. I mean, I could theoretically stick the Steam Deck to the TV and then attach to a controller to it and call it a day and not even worry about trying to get a PC, a PC case.
Yeah, a laptop's better for that anyway.
Yeah, I mean, I could.
That's true.
I could do a lot of those things. So, but I don't really see the reasoning behind getting one, at least for me, because I don't travel enough to warrant it. I don't want to really be in my office over here playing, games. I just want to, if I'm going to be here, I'm going to get away to the living room and play there.
All right, Manny, I have a hypothetical for you.
What's up?
So forgive me.
Mm-hmm.
Vita 2. Would you buy it?
It would depend on what it's got.
And the reason I ask, obviously, because, you for good reasons are a big Vita fan.
Yeah. I mean, I play the Vita from time to time, but I don't know. I don't there's nothing that really fascinates me about the Steam Deck. It doesn't really, graphically, it's impressive, but I don't there's nothing that says, hey, this is something you need to own it for,
Yeah.
Like,
so you would even hesitate with a Vita 2?
Yeah, it really depends on what there is to play on it. If it's something that I'm interested in, if it's something that I'm interested in, yeah, I'll definitely pick it up. Or if there's more than one, but I would say for a Steam Deck, there is no real one way. There's no real one thing to own a Steam Deck for. Like, you can literally get almost every single game on everything else. Or at least all the games that I'm interested in. So there's nothing really that says, hey, yeah, this is really why you need to own it. I'm like, I mean, granted, the possibilities are endless because the door is open to as many things as you want, but I don't really care to have everything. You know what I mean? Like, I don't need to have it. I don't need to have it only does everything.
Fair. All right. Anything else you guys want to, bring up?
Is this another segue because there's somebody that has one?
No, it's not a segue. I want to talk about Alan Wake real quick.
Oh, okay.
Why?
Because I just found this funny. So Alan Wake 2, and Brett, I think this is one of the stories you hate, but I'm gonna go with it, man. Alan Wake 2 failed to rank in the top 150 games in terms of active users for October. Pretty interesting stuff there. Let me read this. This is from Game Rant. Alan Wake 2 did not make it to October's top 150 games with the most active users. This is a surprising piece of information, as Alan Wake 2 was recently nominated at the Game Awards for Game of the Year and a bunch of other shit.
Not surprising. You want to know why? Because it's fucking Alan Wake. Nobody cared about that game. I'm sorry. There is there is a fan base for Alan Wake, but that's like, it's not nearly the amount of people that went for Control, and it's not nearly the people, I don't know how much Quantum Break did, but I feel like, or Max Payne. It's a very sort of niche title, very niche title. It's part. I'm sure that's particularly why they chose not to do a physical release on this title either, because they knew what they were getting into when they did this title, because the first one didn't do well.
Yeah, I'm curious why you think that this is this kind of story I hate.
Because don't you hate it when? Because to me, this seems like low-hanging fruit type of story.
Oh no, I'm genuinely pissed about this kind of thing myself. Like, this feels like, go off on mini rant here. This feels like some Last of Us shit where they look at us and be like, "Y'all are too lowbrow to understand true fucking art." So let's tell you, by voting majority of true artists, which games deserve to be the most fucking celebrated, even though none of y'all are fucking playing it and nobody's fucking talking about it. Like, Twitter is not lit up over Alan Wake 2 and the masterpiece of art that it is. Like, don't get me wrong, looks like a good game, seems pretty well written. The graphics look fucking great on it, but it's a niche title, right? It's a niche title with heavy, serious fucking tones, just like the fucking Last of Us. Right, it's the same shit the Oscars do.
It's not really that. It's not nearly that. Like, it's not nearly that depressing as.
I don't think it's.
It's like the difference. It's like the difference between a. It's like the difference between a David Lynch film and, like, a Christopher Nolan film. You know what I mean?
Well, it just feels to me like how people are like automatically think grimdark shit is deep. Like, no, grimdark shit is not necessarily fucking deep. Like, we get it. The world is chaotic and terrible and probably pointless and scary and dark, and mortality creeps upon us all. Big fucking deal. I'm not 13. I don't think that shit is deep anymore.
No, I mean,
right?
It's not even like, it's not. I feel like even Last of Us is more of a grimdark game, whereas I feel like Alan Wake is sort of like, it deals with alternate dimensions and collective unconscious, all these other little things, but I don't think
it does.
I don't think it necessarily takes itself that seriously as Last of Us.
Nothing takes itself as seriously as Last of Us. But
no,
is there a more grimdark game this year? Is there a more serious critical choice game that released this fucking year?
No one's really marketing it that way, though.
No, it's not really. It's not really.
By the way, Brett, that was the line of the night right there. I'm not 13 years old. That shit is not deep anymore.
No, it's not. It's not like. It's not like. Yeah, it's not. To be honest, I don't think like. I haven't played it, but like I did watch most of it. Like, I don't really. Alan Wake is not like sniffing its own farts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and the game industry isn't telling people that, oh, you don't like this game because you don't get it. No one's really saying
I don't
Even this
think
article,
so.
Basically, this article's premise is like, hey, this game just got nominated for a bunch of shit. Why aren't people playing it? But they're not.
Here's the thing. I always see, this is what I also see about when it comes to Remedy. Now, granted, like Control did very well. But I'm not.
Like Control.
But I'm gonna say that it did better the moment it started getting it got nominated, and I would say sometimes I'm not certain entities in the industry may want certain things to happen, so they'll nominate certain titles so that they get a little more attention. It's what the Oscars used to do. Like it's pretty much I'm not accusing anybody of this, but okay, so let's talk about the evilest man on the planet, Harvey Weinstein, right? Part of his cycle, right, was essentially he was making a bunch of films and getting a bunch of different actors to be in these films, and then he was essentially lobbying for them to be nominated. They didn't do well in their initial release, but after they got nominated for the Academy Awards, that's when people started to take more interest in these films, and they would win when they win the awards, they would even get higher. Like, a bunch of people got awards, all kinds of other stuff happened. So I sort of weirdly feel like this might be the same situation with Remedy, even though I think Remedy is actually a genuinely good, studio that makes really interesting games. But I think like that is the situation here. I feel like I at least get the stench a little bit of nepotism here. Like, I know that Mr. Keeley says, "Oh, yeah, he doesn't choose everything that goes out there," but I feel like since sort of has that bit of connection with
Full of shit.
with certain entities in the industry, I don't. It would be weird if they didn't get nominated on a show that was put out by him. Just saying.
Well, yeah, and like I want to say, like, I'm not entirely sure who that 90% of industry insiders is, but you're going to get some stuff that comes back into the nepotism territory. I want to clarify. It's not that I think that like everybody is getting high off their own farts. Like, this is not a Last of Us type situation. That thing is very special and its own. I do feel like, though, there are certain kinds of recommendations that people who fancy themselves intellectuals will give, right? It's the same if you show up at a party and you're like, hey, you go up to a bunch of people who fancy themselves very smart, and you're like, hey, what are you guys' favorite movies? Chances are they're not going to like throw out like, Idiocracy, they're gonna kind of throw out these more highbrow, kind of deep sounding kind of things, and that's kind of what I meant by the Alan Wake. Like, I don't think it's a big conspiracy or anything like that, but like, I'm not surprised to see it nominated because it feels like the kind of game that people who consider themselves important would nominate, right? Like, and it's it both serious deep games. Tony, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
I'm laughing, man.
Serious deep games and arty whimsical games are always very prone to fucking do that, right? Like, you're not gonna you don't get a whole lot of people who are like, oh yeah, Transformers, that was the movie. No, it's always fucking Citizen Kane, right? Like, so it's that's really all I meant. Like, that and a lot of Nintendo games are often in these kinds of areas where people like to recommend them. Now, The Last of Us exists in a very special place because that is those people's wet dreams. Like, they just want to walk around and tell people about how great The Last of Us is so they can seem arty and deep. And that's not everything these people recommend, but at the same time, like, I find it weirdly suspicious that a game that most people aren't super jazzed about and necessarily writing home about, like, that it's getting so much more traction, right? Like, because I doubt a lot of these people are going to be like, Spider-Man. Spider-Man was the game I would write home. Like, Spider-Man changed my view on women. Like, no, that's you're not getting that.
Spider-Man's nominated too, by the way, for Game of the Year. I'm just saying.
What's that?
Said Spider-Man 2 is also nominated for Game of the Year, like Alan Wake is.
Yeah. Well, I'm not meaning to imply that it's not.
Okay, I'm just saying, like, they're still in the same category in that sense, but...
Well, no, but like, if it went by... Yeah, if it went... I'm just saying, if it went by people playing the games and, like, how much fun people were having, strictly, I feel like Spider-Man would have been nominated a lot... It would have been a lot heavier contender than Alan Wake. Because Alan Wake is everywhere.
Come on now. Yeah.
I mean, also like, didn't it get like 7 nominations?
No, it got more than that.
Yeah,
it
like
got way more than that.
See, like that, like I don't care that it's in best game. Like that seems fairly normal to me. It might be some people's contender for best game, but like, man, it seems like it's nominated for like 2 out of every 3 categories, and that's where I'm like, that feels a little suspicious for a game that people aren't talking about that much, because it feels like if the game were that good across all spectrums, it gets people talking, and that mimetic nature tends to sell games on a slower burn, but people definitely know and talk about it. I mean, fucking Elden Ring was kind of like that. Like, it was already prone and set to be big, but then immediately everybody being like, this game has the best, like, I don't know, everything I've ever had in my life. It completes me as a person. I can now die happily. Like, that made other people play it.
By the way, real quick, because why not? Let's talk about it. Darth Gibeus says, "I was shocked Starfield didn't get nominated."
Yeah.
Public consensus is the game's missing a little bit of magic, which I'm kind of torn about. Like, I don't know how to, like, if I compare this to, say, like, either of the Star Wars games, like, oh, Starfield beats the pants off of them, but like trounces both hands down, in my opinion. Easy win. But like, maybe we set it up to fail by expecting it to be Skyrim in space. I mean, like, I was expecting it to be Skyrim in space, and that was a more conservative estimate of what this game would be. Everybody else thought it would be like literally everything under the moon and then some. So like, I kind of feel like maybe we set ourselves up to let ourselves down, but also at the same time, like, this is probably the weakest mainline Bethesda franchise, even aside from expectations. So I don't know.
And then on top of that, Brett, the game was also supposed to be the thing that sold the Xbox Series X. So they had that expectation on top of it as well.
Yeah, well, if it were good, it would have been.
Yeah,
we knew it wasn't going to happen. I've said it.
Go ahead, Adam.
Remember, I had talked about it before. I was like, this is not a system seller, this game. It's going to be a niche thing. I never saw this as that go-to for everyone. It's not like a Spider-Man type of deal.
But it's interesting because Skyrim and fucking Fallout are, I'm going to just say they're normie games. They're the games that you get your girlfriend to play to get into
I don't know those
games.
people. Those are different girlfriends. I don't know about those.
Get in here, bro.
That I don't know. I would not call that a normie game.
No.
Yeah, Skyrim for sure. Skyrim for sure. Like, how many fucking girl streamers don't still stream that fucking game?
Skyrim is definitely a girlfriend-friendly game. Fallout is a little less so, but the VATS system helps. Because the second you'd be like, oh, it's a shooter, a lot of girls, not saying anything, but a lot of girls are like, not my jam. And so I feel like taking out the VAT system and being like, you know what girls love? NASA is not really a thing that a lot of people say. So like, so like that plus the whole there is no VAT system, you kind of cutting down on your audience every step that you get away from Elder Scrolls. But also, like I said before, like, I think it's the disjointed nature. Like, after playing it for a while, I have found a way to make it smoother, where you basically just pop open the menu and press X, and you just jump to the next thing that you're supposed to do. But even then, that's feels like a lot of jumping. And even, in Fallout, like, just pulling out your Pip-Boy feels so much less intrusive than pausing the Starfield menu. So they made it too big and too separate, and in doing so, they broke it apart, and you lose that wondering experience. I don't know if that you might be able to fix that with some patches. I don't know if you can, though. Like, Starfield may just be kind of niche. I also think, like, it is definitely the weakest of the 3 settings. Like, you have one setting, like Skyrim is a LOTOR-esque fantasy world that subverts itself, right? Like you like the Dark Elves and the history of the Dark Elves and the Nords and the Orcs. I'm not gonna Elder Scrolls geek out on you guys, but like a lot of the backstories of the races and whatnot, they're really pretty interesting and kind of countercurrent to what you would expect in a classic LOTOR setting. Fallout is a super unique setting. You're not going to get anything like it. You know, it's future tech meets Mad Max. Fuck yeah, man! Like that is fucking charming. No other way to put it. It's fucking charming. And then you get this, and you're like, hey, do you want a low sci-fi future alien-free space adventure? To which a lot of people are like, no. I mean, it's the reason you get more Star Wars than you do The Expanse. And while you'll every once in a while run across people like Tony who love The Expanse for its nuts and bolts approach, most of the time you're going to get other people who will be like, yeah, why is my spaceship just all crazy cool holograms and sleep pods instead of, you know,
well, with The
ugly
Expanse, you didn't watch the shows. Did you watch the shows, Tony, or it's just the books? You read the books.
I just read the books, but
you say the read the book, but the shows were on Sci-Fi Channel, and people blew off sci-fi shows a long time ago because they were like, "Oh, it's all low budget," which isn't true. There was a lot of that bullshit, but they actually started there was a lot of high production values in The Expanse.
But Brett's point is shows like The Expanse are really like grounded in shit. They're it's hard sci-fi, right? Whereas Star Wars is basically just fantasy in space. That's more appealing to people. That's just a fact,
in space.
You know, it is. It's not sci-fi at all. It's fantasy with a science fiction dressing. You know,
space wizards.
Yeah, that shit is fun. You know. Like I've always said, one thing I like about even though I'm a Star Trek guy, one thing I like about Star Wars that they have over Star Trek is they have fucking monsters everywhere. I love that shit. You know,
yeah, but here's the thing.
Sometimes you'll get a monster in Star Trek, but Star Wars, the second season of Mandalorian literally had a monster in every episode, and it was glorious.
Yeah, but Star Trek, even the more grounded episode, I'm not talking about the William Shatner fucking green alien girls, but like even the more grounded ones had whole different civilizations and alien races and like time travel and all kinds of weird, crazy shit. Yeah. You're like, this is kind of like if somebody were like, hey, you know how like Star Trek is a step down in Star Wars in terms of fun? Well, what if we took Star Trek and stepped it down a level of fun? Where would we be at then? We'd be at Starfield. We'd be at that real super grounded, there is no magic in the universe. I'm like,
Expanse.
Starfield, but like,
actually, the Expanse is even lower than Starfield because Expanse is just at least what I've read, it's only in one solar system. But no.
Yeah, but it's also got the proto.
Yeah. They got aliens. They got aliens in that world. They exist.
Yeah,
you're right about that. But I agree with everything you just said. It's like people like fun fantasy shit, and that's cool. They don't want the more grounded sci-fi stuff. Me, I probably like Starfield a lot. Because I like that shit. But I know I'm in the minority when it comes to that.
I mean, here's the thing. I like retrofuturism. I like alien type tech, right? But the NASA punk really doesn't look like that. Like, in my opinion, like as an artist, man, like I kind of fucking hate some of the NASA punk aesthetics because they're ugly. And I get that they're supposed to be ugly. I get that it's supposed to be like stuff that NASA actually uses. But here's the thing. NASA, I don't know if you know this, doesn't give a fuck how things look. And most of the time, it just looks like space trash. So, it's yeah, cool. You have a room here that has cargo netting covering like a bunch of boxes and tinfoil strapped to the wall. It's not a cool look. It's not a cool look. I'd rather almost the brutalist based architecture of minimalist future tech than this. I'd rather like an angular gray console covered with press buttons as opposed to this like space conserving NASA vibe. Like it's not a fun vibe as it, and it's fine. Like there was part of it that I like. It's just not as fun as like 80% of the other shit that you could do with sci-fi. So it just has all of these things working against it, man.
By the way, Brett, Darth Gibbia says that you should make a video game.
Bro, I would totally love, like, somebody hire me as a creative director of a video game. I will come to work every day with fucking bells on, figuratively and literally. I don't give a shit.
You know? Oh, man. Good stuff. By the way, the other thing I wanted to bring up with relation to Alan Wake 2 is that despite, that, whole thing of apparently the game not doing well, at least, when it comes to, like, engagement, the studio itself says that the game was a success.
Yeah,
so
it's probably doing exactly what they expected the game to do.
Yeah.
I don't think Remedy at any point thinks they know good and damn well that Alan Wake is definitely a niche title, and I think what they did is they probably knowing this, leveraging this sequel, they probably said, all right, yeah, we know we're going to take a hit on as Alan Wake, and we're just probably not going to spend nearly as much as we would on a Control or was a Quantum Break. But, I'm guessing that's part of the reason why they made the deal to do the remakes of Max Payne, because they knew that these things were going to come. So I think they knew exactly what it was going to hit. And then they're like, all right, we already got our next thing already coming down the line. So, a bigger thing. Yeah.
I still got to play these games. I want to play Alan Wake 1 and 2,
Yeah, Alan Wake is
Remedy. I like Remedy shit, man. I like every game I play from Remedy. I really liked. I like Quantum Break. I like Control.
They make solid games.
Yeah.
I like them. They're good. They're good.
Plus they got the metal in them. Every single one of their games has metal in it. There's literally a sequence that like they do a metal opera at one point in the game of Alan Wake 2.
See, I see their games kind of like HBO movies, right? Like, we're not talking Netflix movies here, right? Not necessarily talking big release. Pretty good. Solid B+ across the board.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Which I guess a lot of people saying the game should be nominated for Game of the Year probably aren't going to like that, but like,
I don't know. I mean, like, I don't. Does any like? I feel like a lot of people are surprised that Alan Wake even got nominated for Game of the Year. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like a lot of people are questioning it. But I mean, I wouldn't.
I'm not surprised.
As intrigued as I am with it, I don't. Yeah, I didn't see it being nominated for a Game of the Year thing. But maybe art direction, maybe the music, maybe a direction award, but not a Game of the Year.
I'm only surprised that it's nominated for everything.
Yeah, everything.
It is the greatest game. Apparently, according to them, it is the greatest game ever made. At least according to Jeff Keighley.
Dude, when that list dropped, I texted Tony. I was like, "Am I missing something about this game, or is it just the best game ever made?"
I didn't have an answer for you, and I still don't. I have my theories, but I'm not going to voice them on air. All right, man. What else? All right, Adam, we got to get you on here, man. So apparently the next Call of Duty is going to be Black Ops, and it's going to be set during the Gulf War, the 2004 Gulf War, not the original one.
So
what do you think about that?
The Bin Laden stuff?
The
War on Terror.
No, before that, the one that our uncle was in.
Oh yeah,
okay. That one.
No, this is the when we went to go take out Saddam Hussein directly.
This is after 9/11.
Yeah, this is after 9/11. This is
I thought it was before that, the early one.
This is not the early one. No.
So a lot. Let me just make sure I'm understanding this right. A lot of players playing the game will be playing a war that they decided to not actually go to in real life because they were old enough.
Yes.
The only thing I hope for it's the same issues that I'm having with Modern Warfare, and it's that they're focusing so much on trying to get people to play together, right? Play together, multiple Warzone and all of the other features that they keep adding with zombies, and it's play with your friends, get together. Then why did you not add that in the campaign? But you created this open world location for it. It makes no sense. They throw you in there and you're putting on armor and stuff just like you're doing one of the online matches, but yet you're playing by yourself and it's a huge open world, and majority of the missions you are by yourself. It's no longer feels like a Call of Duty where you're in war, you're in battle, everyone's storming the beach, that type of situation. And so if they're going to go down the road, because originally Black Ops, that was its thing, that it was the Call of Duty that let you play with your friends for the campaign. You have 4-player co-op for the campaign and run around, and it was great. But we didn't get that in 4. We got that in 3. That was like the last one that we got it in. So if they're going to go there, I don't care what war they throw us in, just have us jump with our buddies in it and let us have that experience together, because that's what that series was all about.
All right, peace out, Darth Gibius. Happy Thanksgiving to you, brother. Thanks for sticking around.
Happy Thanksgiving. Eat well.
Yeah, gobble gobble. Eat well.
Yeah.
And the last thing I want to talk about, Adam, more personal shit, man. What's going on with that Steam Deck, bruh?
Oh, it's personal.
It's personal. This is personal. So, you guys know I got the OLED limited edition. Waited for that one. I was hyped. I got it. Finally arrived today. And problems. And I thought it was just me. I was like, oh, I got a dud system, meaning that the Wi-Fi was not connecting. So it would see the Wi-Fi network, see them all, but when I put in my password, nothing would happen. It would say, oh, network failure, try your password again. I'm like, I know it's my password. I know my password. I reboot my router, reboot my modem, did everything, checked other devices, everything is fine. What is going on? So then I go online and I take a look in their support page, and this is a known issue. So apparently something is wrong with the new Wi-Fi adapter that they added in this. Now it seems like it's pointed more towards people that have newer routers. So I have a newer router. It's an Asus gaming router that supports 6, Internet 6, so Ethernet 6. So it works. It's supposed to work and support it. Well, that's the issue. Somewhere along the lines, it's having issue with the mesh, because a lot of those newer ones will mesh your 2.5 and your 5 gigahertz together to build a strong signal, and it's having issues seeing that. It's somewhere along the lines. So what people have been doing is going into router settings and splitting the two again. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. Other people have found other ways of working around, like I have, where I used my official dock. I plugged in the dock and it saw the wired connection and it let me do the install and setup, because right off the bat, you can't do anything. Once you turn it on, it's like, oh, pick your time, your location, and now your Wi-Fi connection. I was like, shoot, if I can't connect to Wi-Fi, then what? So I feel sorry for people that don't have access to their router. Maybe they're in a college or some location where they just connect to the general Wi-Fi, and if they are updating their systems, then it's not going to work. They got to hope that it's actually an older system, and then it seems that it'll connect. But it's a pain in the ass. It's a pain in the ass. Thankfully, I mean, this device it doesn't require a constant online connection. So once you load it up, you can go and play whatever. And next time it pings, I think it's like 2 weeks or something like that. It has to connect to Valve or whatever to just verify everything is kosher. But still, that sucks, man. I spent hours trying to figure this out and just going through all these forums, and people are like, oh, you got to disable this on your router. You got a factory reset. No, your system's bricked. It doesn't work. And I feel like that's not the case, because if that was it, it wouldn't see it. It would give an error like there are no drivers. So it's clearly some kind of driver issue that I hope they fix. But it's a shame, because as you know, and Tony's one of them, a lot of guys that we're reviewing got an early unit.
Yeah.
But it looks like with combination of things. One, they didn't get the limited edition one, and it seems like predominantly a lot of people are having issues with that model. And then two, a lot of reviewers don't have 6. Their router, they're not using a router that's fully compatible with the device, so they're using an older one, which is fine, because then it doesn't have the issues that's causing this. So it's somewhere along the lines of this device talking to newer routers, and it's not working, like I mentioned, the mesh. So should everybody have to go and start messing with their network settings and making all these adjustments just for this one device? No, we shouldn't. But then again, it's only been out 2 days for this one.
Do you think that this is something that can be fixed with a firmware update?
Yeah, and that was the first thing that I know when I first finally everything went through. Because that's the other thing. Some people were like, "Oh, set up a hotspot on your phone," and that's how they did it. That was the workaround. They didn't have the dock, but they did the Wi-Fi. And I tried that, and it crashed on me 2 times. Like just hung there. It went through because, which I don't remember on my Steam Deck ever seeing before. But once you to get to connect to a Wi-Fi, it says installing. It doesn't say what it's installing. It just says installing, and it gives a timer at the bottom. And I assume that was like updates, whatever. But once you finally do get in, and then you sign into your account, then it said, oh, it told me that there was a firmware update because this is an early unit that I have. A lot of changes have been made, blah, 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 blah. Click install update. I'm like, okay, that's great. But then what the hell was I just waiting for 15 minutes before this? What was that? So I don't know, because it doesn't tell you that it's a firmware update. It doesn't say anything. It just says installing. But it kept crashing when I did that through my hotspot, which is why I was like, you know what, let me try the dock. And the reason why I think that this can definitely be fixed through software is only because if it was a hardware issue, let's say if the adapter is just faulty as bad, it would fail instantly. It wouldn't even connect. It would say, hey, there's no Wi-Fi. There's nothing here. And the first Steam Deck did have some that failed. And I saw those videos of people showing screenshots and stuff of what it was. And it was like, it just, there was no Wi-Fi. You clicked on Wi-Fi, it was like, no networks found. Well, that's not the case here. It's seeing the network, and it's letting you trying to connect to the network, and it's trying to verify, but then it's failing. So, and the fact that people have figured out the workarounds, that also tells me that it is a driver and software issue and a compatibility, and they have to make some adjustments. It doesn't seem to matter what brand router you have. I have an Asus. Other people were talking about they have Netgear and Linksys and stuff, and it's like, all right, well, that's not it. And all right, so what's the common denominator here? And it's like, well, we're all using a 6. We're all using a modern router that does a mesh, and it doesn't seem to play well with that. So hey, like I mentioned, it's 2 days. It sucks because you want something out the box to work out the box. I was looking forward to, even now I was going to go on camera. I was going to show it off because it is beautiful, but I can't be happy about it because of this. Right now I have it plugged into the dock, just installing stuff on it. And if, once I unplug it, it's upsetting to know it's just going to disconnect and go offline. Because even that's the other thing, even after I did that update and I was like, oh, maybe this will fix it. I went to the network settings, and it does show my network, and it shows all the other networks, but again, still can't connect to them. It still fails. And so I'll give it some time, give it a few days. Hopefully next week it'll be official full release. This is making the rounds on the official support page. More and more people are getting theirs. Others are saying, hey, mine's is coming, on Friday due to the holiday and all this stuff. So it's still sprinkling out there, but like right now I just refreshed and somebody has the 512 that came today, and theirs is the standard version, and they're having this issue, the OLED. So
and it's all with the special edition, right?
That's what I thought, but right now it looks like the 512, just the OLED. It looks like it's all the OLED ones.
Interesting.
At least that's coming with this one. And again, that's what people are asking this guy now. I'll send you the thread, and the answer was like, hey,
I want to check that out.
Like, what router?
Because again, I've been reviewing it, and so have some of the other people in the office, and none of us have had any issues like this.
Yeah, so it's upsetting. This is upsetting. I was looking
especially
forward
since
to
the system is fucking dope. I mean,
Yeah,
you feel it now. Shit is lighter.
It is. It's scary light, but then you brought up that whole thing that they said it's the screen. That was the screen was adding all the way, because I mean it feels so light. It's like, shit, what did you take out? Because it's too light. It's too light. It don't throws me off. But the screen is bright. I don't remember the other one automatically enabling that what is it, that light tint, that feature that it has underneath. I disable it on my phones and every other device. I hate that auto detect.
Oh yeah.
I hate it. But this had it on default, so once I turned it on, it was already dim. I'm like, what the hell? And I went to settings, sure enough, that shit was on. I turned it off, and I was like, shit, I need my sunglasses. This shit was bright. Beautiful screen, very vibrant.
Yeah, no, it is, man. The HDR is fucking nice. Adam, here's a question for you from J Shep. Does this mean you're not gonna name your new Steam Deck?
Right now, I don't even want to look at it.
Damn.
That's how upset I am right now. This is it, like this thing. Yeah, I'm loading it up and stuff, but most likely it's going to go in a drawer. And I'm already subscribed to all these threads where apparently Valve is aware, they're looking into it. Once there's a fix, then because it's going to upset me. Every time I use it, it's going to upset me. I'm used to just playing it, seeing friends pop up, talking, doing that whole thing, just playing, getting updates. That disconnect. When I take screenshots, when I'm doing reviews, I'll take a screenshot and it's great because then I just go on my desktop and then it's just there. I just download it and there you go. My little video clips. I can't do any of that. It limits a lot of the functionality of what I use it for. And it's a damn shame. It's a damn shame because it shouldn't be this way. I'm just shocked. That's pretty much it. I'm just shocked. I just didn't see this coming. And I thought that they had everything down packed. That's why they sent out those reviews a week early, those units. It's just, they had everything squared away. This is going to be a solid device. I had no issues with the first one. But hey, I'm not giving them a pass on this. This is their second model.
Yeah, they fucked up.
This should have been tested. Especially if you're hyping it up, that it's super fast speeds and the whole thing with 6. And the whole point of the super fast with the 6 is the mesh, the fact that it combines it makes a stronger signal. So if that doesn't work, and people are like, we'll just split it and then go to 2.4 gigahertz. I was like, yeah, and that's slower, and that doesn't help. It's going to take forever to start installing games. So for that, then if you have any kind of device, a dongle device, anything that, if you were using it before that has, for docking, then do that. Just plug it in, do that. That works. You can set it up. You can download. You can do all that stuff. But until they fix this, it's beautiful. It's beautiful, beautiful screen. It's super light. I like that I could see inside the case, front and back. Just really disappointed.
Gotta fix that shit.
Yeah, I sent it to you guys in the chat. That's the official thread there.
I'll check it out. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's a damn shame.
What am I doing? All right, here we go. All right, I think that's gonna do it for us. Unless you guys want to bring up anything random, gaming related.
There was something. Damn, what was it?
Yeah, again, not a lot happened because we didn't have a lot of week. And then tomorrow nothing's gonna happen because it's
that's well, it was the Call of Duty thing. It's like they had like the largest multiplayer consecutive group play. This is what Activision was touting for Modern Warfare 3 compared to Modern Warfare 2, and that everyone's jumping on there and everyone's playing. And I find that interesting because it's like that Call of Duty, the Infinite War type of situation where it sucks. But everybody bought it, ran out and bought it and played and did all that. And here's the same thing. Everyone's griping and bitching about this one, and myself included. But yet people were playing it, at least according to Activision. I need to. Who knows? They're publishers. They're gonna say all kinds of shit. But if that's true, that means a lot of people bought it. And so I'm curious to see when those numbers come in for next month to see how many people actually, because it's not on Game Pass, that's not there. So people still buy, and I think I haven't seen any commercials for it. But don't these commercials still say PlayStation?
Yeah, it's because they
for this one because
they still have.
This is the last one. Yeah, this is and that's the whole reason why they pushed it out the way they did, just to get rid of that, because to give it that official release feel. But it's not. It's but we'll see.
I could see why I could see why Sony wanted to stop that thing, because they literally had their Slim sold as the pack-in game for the Slim was the newest Call of Duty.
Jay Shep, it was Embracer. They laid off 900 employees. Yep.
Well, Embracer's going.
We hear these fucking stories every week now.
Embracer.
That was another group, right?
Yeah, that's the former THQ.
The second
right?
batch. No, but they did a big layoff not too long ago, and this is like their second batch of layoffs.
Yeah, they're going through a lot. They grew too much. They're literally having what we call the THQ curse happening to them now. They're literally tightening the belt because they can't get anything to work now. They shouldn't have tried to grow so big so fast.
I mean, that's a problem that happened with the industry in general. They thought the party was going to keep going.
They all do it. Telltales, remember Telltales?
Yeah.
Started pushing all those games out, and then
Yeah, also like a bunch of other things. It's just like all these companies just thought that they could infinitely grow and all the profits would get even better after the pandemic. Yeah, well, no, that's not going to happen at all because nobody's people aren't captive in their homes, so you have to literally lower your projections. But obviously the investors don't want to hear that. They're all like, oh, well, we're going to do better this year.
Like, oh, we made this much money last year. We got to make more next year.
Well, that's what's going on with all these streaming services. Same thing. It's like, oh, no one's watching all this stuff. We're producing all this. Yeah, because not everybody's stuck at home. Now they can go out and do shit.
Yeah, exactly.
Before, everybody was stuck and gobbling all that content because they couldn't do anything.
Mm-hmm. And then now when people have the choice to go out to these things, the things that they're putting in the theaters are utter trash.
Yeah.
No, yeah, fucking garbage movies now. Everything's failing too. Just crazy, but we're not gonna get. This is not the pop culture show.
Yeah, Barbie did well, and Oppenheimer did well.
Yeah, Oppenheimer did well. Yeah, but
isn't there
the
another
Marvels didn't, and it looks like Napoleon won't either.
That's a period piece. Usually, period pieces do well.
Yeah, well,
it depends.
Gladiator. Master Commander.
I don't know, but like Napoleon's an interesting one. I'm not sure if that's something I would want to go see out in the movies.
I was interested, but then I saw like the trailer and they bombed the pyramids. I'm like, okay, what the fuck are we doing? That didn't happen. So I'm like, if you don't care to be historically accurate, I don't care to watch your fucking movie. How about that?
Oh damn! I
they
thought that was their whole point.
Pyramids, man.
Yeah, I didn't see the trailer.
Wait. What didn't they shoot Canada? Isn't that why the Sphinx doesn't have a nose?
No, that's a theory. That a conspiracy theory. That's not.
So maybe is that what they're going based off of in this? I guess.
No, Ridley Scott literally said I added. Ridley Scott said that didn't happen, but I wanted to do a shorthand to say that Napoleon took Egypt.
Why would he do that? Why would you?
So yeah, historians came after him. He's like, no, it's like the fucking movie. What are you guys talking about? Who cares?
Right? It's not a documentary. I could do what I want.
Historical it's fiction. Like the Netflix Cleopatra shit.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, Zendaya is not going to be playing Cleopatra in some movie. So yeah, there you go. I'm not going to get into that bullshit. Let's start wrapping up, man. What are we plugging? Invincible. I don't know when we're gonna record that because holidays are throwing everything. I think we're recording it on Monday. Brett, is that what we agreed on? I don't remember.
Did you guys record that honestly, 2-episode thing? Or
what's up, Brett?
I was relying on you to tell me. So
fuck. Let's say Monday. Fuck it, we're doing it Monday. And yeah, Adam, we did the 2 and 3 episode. Yeah, we did that. So yeah, we're gonna do Monday. We're gonna come back with Invincible because it's gonna be the mid-season finale, which is crazy. It's only fucking 4 episodes, but it is what it is, So yeah, we'll be back on Monday. And Adam, what's going on with I'm Negan's?
Yeah, we're so behind because of the same thing with commute and everyone's doing other things, and then holidays. We still haven't recorded for the last 2 episodes. So they did the finale was 2 episodes back to back. That's how they ended, so they can get this week out because of the holidays and stuff. So they did everything last week. But we just been busy and we're trying to get time together because we usually watch them together and then do our thoughts and review afterwards. So you're looking at 3-4 hours total to get that. So to find that block of time, it's hard. So hopefully tomorrow before we start our gobbles, we can get together because we're going to do that today, but people are busy doing other stuff. So we'll see, hopefully tomorrow. But yeah, just to get that out the way, and then that's it. We're on a break until the Rick and Michonne, that other one comes out. So hopefully that's good.
Yeah. All right, man. It obviously just like I'm Negan, Invincible podcast is also on the Coalition with a K.com. So go make sure to check that stuff out, man. Hear me geeking out. You motherfuckers always saying, Tony, you're so negative. You want to hear a happy, positive Tony? Go check out that podcast. I love Invincible. Great. All right. Let's get out of here, man. So make sure you Follow Throwdown Twitch and Twitter. Subscribe. Join our Discord where conversations and the rumors are always popping. You can find us on any podcast app by searching for Throwdown Show. That's two words. Throwdown Show. Throwdownshow.com to listen to past episodes. And if you've been watching us on YouTube and enjoyed our videos, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and hit the bell to be notified of when our premieres go live, man. Links to everything down below. Once again, I was your host, Tony Polanco, and tonight I was joined by Emilio Lopez.
See you next time. Also, have a happy Thanksgiving if you are celebrating Thanksgiving.
Yes. Chris Steely.
Hey, take care, everyone.
Adam Vale.
Have a good holiday, everybody.
And Brett Murdoch.
Deuces.
All right, people, you already know, man. Eat, drink, and be merry on Thanksgiving for those who celebrate, and to everybody else, have fun tomorrow. Make fun of Americans if you want. You can do that. Anyway, we shall return on Sunday as usual. Later.
Laters.
Peace.